Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really taking a plunge into the essential bits of a truly robust business plan. Now, these ideas work anywhere, but our focus today is, well, specifically tailored for projects in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector.
Yeah.
We're pulling insights from a specialized training unit and also a really inspiring real-world success story.
Right, and our mission here really is to cut through all the complexity you often find in business planning. Make it accessible, make it actionable for you.
Yeah.
We'll be breaking down the crucial strategies, the financial blueprints, building teams, managing risk into hopefully clear, understandable nuggets. The aim is to give you that shortcut, that edge to understanding what makes a new venture actually succeed, not just survive.
Absolutely. And our source material kicks things off with a pretty powerful quote from Rich Dad. He said, "Starting a business is like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. You have to build the parachute midair before you hit the ground." That's such a vivid metaphor, isn't it? It perfectly shows why a solid business plan isn't just paperwork. It's literally your lifeline, especially in a sector like RNAC, where the upfront costs can be significant.
Definitely.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The financial plan. People often call this the backbone, right? But what's its deeper meaning beyond just numbers on a page, especially for someone starting out in, say, industrial cooling or maybe residential HVAC?
Well, it's fascinating because the financial plan is essentially your strategic map for money. It's not just documenting where money goes, profits, assets, investments. It's also your best tool for looking ahead.
Okay.
Its core purpose is kind of twofold. First, pinpointing exactly where your funding is coming from.
Right.
And second, just as vital, deciding where every single pound or dollar or rial will be spent for the best results. For an entrepreneur, putting one together involves some key steps.
Like what?
Well, setting clear financial goals, short, medium, long term, then doing a really honest check of your current financial state.
Okay, the reality check.
Exactly. Then you figure out the funding gap, that difference between what you have and what you actually need.
Oh, okay.
Then you pick the right funding strategy, make a detailed plan for getting your assets, the chillers, tools, vans, and finally you actually do it. Implement the plan and constantly check how things are going against what you predicted.
So it sounds like much more than just bean counting. It's strategic.
Yeah.
But why is it so absolutely crucial? Why can't someone in RNAC just rely on their technical skills and, wing it?
Well, if you look at the big picture, a solid financial plan is what proves the project can actually work to everyone.
Right.
It shows potential returns to investors, shows payback periods vital for getting funding, and critically, it turns abstract ideas like we'll sell lots of ACs into real numbers you can actually use for decision-making.
Data-driven decisions.
Precisely. For an RNAC business, it quantifies exactly what you need for specialized gear, or maybe growing your parts inventory. It gives you estimated cash flows, profit projections, expense forecasts. The clear goals are convince funders, measure and reduce risks, and analyze that crucial payback period.
Got it. And within this financial world, our source really zeroes in on two main statements. The balance sheet and the income statement. Can you give us a quick sort of insightful breakdown of each? What do they tell an entrepreneur?
Sure. The balance sheet, sometimes called the statement of financial position, it's like a photo, a snapshot of your project's financial health at one specific point in time.
Okay, a snapshot.
It shows what the project owns your assets. For an RNAC business, that could be fixed things like your workshop, vehicles, big cooling units, or current stuff like cash, parts inventory, money customers owe you. Then it shows what the project owes liabilities. Think bank loans for those vans, or payments due to suppliers. And finally, equity, the owner's stake. And the absolute key equation here, it's simple but profound. Assets, liabilities, plus equity. It has to balance. If it doesn't, something's wrong. You need to dig deeper.
Makes sense.
And the income statement. That one's more like a video. It shows your financial performance over a period like a quarter or a year.
Okay.
Starts with sales, all the revenue from installations, repairs, contracts. Subtract your variable costs, the ones that go up and down with sales to get your gross operating profit. Then take out fixed costs, rent, salaries, things that stay pretty steady to get your net profit before zakat.
And zakat.
Yeah, that's a 2.5% alms tax, specific to certain contexts, deducted before you get to your final true net profit. Our source also clarifies calculating project capital. It's not just the initial investment cost. No, it's your investment costs plus enough operating costs to cover about 5 months of activity. Think of it like having fuel in the tank after takeoff, covering fixed costs and a chunk of variable costs for that initial period.
That's a really practical point.
Mm.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Payback, period. Sounds like a really useful tool for evaluating projects. What's its main job, and are there any common ways people misuse it?
Oh, it's indispensable, especially in RNAC where equipment costs can be high. Its purpose is simple. Figure out the exact time needed to get back your initial investment.
How long till you're back in the black, basically?
Exactly. The formula is pretty straightforward. Investment costs divided by your average annual cash flow. It helps you assess feasibility. Like if you buy expensive diagnostic tools, how fast do they start earning their keep?
Right.
Now, generally, a shorter payback is better. You get your cash back faster. But a common mistake is only looking at this. It doesn't tell you about long-term profitability or the total return after you've paid it back. It's a key piece, sure, but definitely not the whole puzzle.
Good point. And building on that, if you've done your financial planning right, you'll know your funding needs. Is this just the gap between what you have and what you need to get started? And do entrepreneurs often get this wrong?
That's exactly it. It's that critical difference. And yes, a common slip-up is underestimating those early operating costs or maybe not factoring in potential delays. That burns through cash faster than you think.
Right. Buffer is key.
Absolutely. Thankfully, there are lots of funding sources beyond just your own savings. You've got family and acquaintances, parents, relatives, friends, often flexible.
Sure.
Then an investor or funder, someone who believes in the idea, gives cash for a share. Venture capital funds that invest in multiple projects. Our source actually mentions the Saudi Investment Fund and STV as examples, shows there's institutional support out there.
Interesting.
You can also get direct lending bank loans, often needed for big kit, and indirect lending getting assets or supplies via installments. Think Tamra and Tabby, great for cash flow.
Okay.
Crowdfunding is another route, platforms like Menafa or Kickstarter where people contribute for perks. And don't forget entrepreneurship competitions events with cash prizes for good ideas.
Lots of options.
Definitely. But the key thing is the entrepreneur must study the pros and cons of each source carefully before deciding what fits their specific RNAC business best.
Okay, so you've built your financial parachute, but who's actually going to stitch it together and pull the cord midair? That brings us to people building the right team. What does a human resources management plan actually involve for a startup, especially in a service field like RNAC?
Right. This plan is all about figuring out exactly who you need on the team and making sure their skills match the project's goals and what you can realistically manage. A project team isn't just a list of employees. They're the engine driving success. They provide the leadership, the guidance, coordination, making sure the vision actually happens. For an RNAC firm, that means having the right techs, sales folks, support staff who really get the industry.
So what's a typical team structure look like in these kinds of entrepreneurial projects? Why are these roles so important for, say, a startup focused on green cooling systems?
Well, our source points to some common, crucial roles. First, the entrepreneurial project manager. That's the person ultimately responsible for everything, start to finish. In RNAC, they need both tech know-how and business sense.
The captain of the ship.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Then you have executives. They handle the day-to-day planning, organizing operations, making sure jobs get done right, and clients are happy.
Okay.
The financial department is critical, managing money, reports, budgets, financial risks. Think tracking parts, service contracts, payment stuff unique to this sector.
I love.
And then you might have other departments, depending on the business marketing, maybe technology or R&D, HR, training. For that green cooling startup, a strong R&D team and sharp marketing focused on sustainability would be absolutely key.
The source also mentioned some really important conditions for team formation. Sounds like the secret sauce for cohesion. But what's a common trap entrepreneurs fall into here?
Oh, they're fundamental. First, team building has to come from the employees wanting it, being satisfied, not being forced into it. You can't mandate teamwork.
Yeah.
There needs to be a strong shared reason for the team. Members need to depend on each other, knowing they need the others to win. The leader and the individuals have to genuinely want the team to succeed. And finally, you need a foundation of trust, connection, respect, cooperation, and being able to handle different views.
And the trap.
The trap is often focusing too much on just the technical skills. Forgetting about those soft skills, trust, communication, collaboration, you could have a genius technician who just can't work with others, and they can actually pull the whole team down.
That's a great insight. What about the things that affect how effective team building is? Any specific angles for a team dealing with complex RNAC tech?
Yeah, there are three main factors. The technical one, the type of work, the specific skills needed. For RNAC, that means certified techs, engineers who know specific systems, salespeople who get the tech details.
Got it.
And the human factor, the qualities of the leader and the members. Emotional intelligence, problem solving, how adaptable they are. And finally, the environmental factor, the context. Think safety rules for refrigerants, adapting to new green standards, the overall company culture. They all weave together, especially when precision and safety are paramount.
Now, thinking about today's job market, this idea of a future work company and modern work patterns feels super relevant, especially for finding specialized talent in a field that's often hands-on like R&AC. How could these initiatives change things?
This is a really forward-looking initiative from the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Development. It's designed to help entrepreneurs and adapt to how work is changing globally. They've set up this future work company offering 3 modern ways to work.
Interesting.
First, the remote work program. This is huge for attracting talent nationally without needing them physically present. An R&AC company could hire, say, an expert system designer from anywhere in the country.
Wow.
It involves proper contracts, social insurance, letting employers quickly hire qualified people full-time, part-time, even hourly. Then there's the freelance program, tied into Vision 2030. It targets the self-employed, people looking for income opportunities. It's about boosting productivity and skills. For an R&AC firm, you could bring in specialized freelancers for specific jobs, maybe an expert on industrial chillers just for one big project. Platforms like BAR help connect people.
Like project-based experts?
Exactly. And finally, flexible work. This is an electronic system for hourly contracts, super easy way to hire people by the hour, perfect for handling busy seasons or specific repair jobs without long-term commitments.
Right, Jess.
And the source actually gives links to the government platforms for these, which is really helpful. We'll make sure those are in the show notes for anyone wanting to dig deeper.
Great. So, okay, finances are structured, the dream team is being built, but no venture sales on completely smooth seas, right?
Yeah.
That takes us to navigating the unknowns, risk management. This feels like a really key part of building that parachute midair we mentioned.
Oh, absolutely critical. Every entrepreneur needs a solid plan for managing risks, for heading off potential threats. Our source lays out a systematic way to do this.
Okay, what are the steps?
First, identifying risks. Just naming them. What could go wrong? You need to sort the major ones, things that could sink the ship, like a big jump in refrigerant costs or a key supplier failing from the smaller secondary ones.
Right.
Next, assessing risks. You look at how likely each risk is and how bad it would be if it happened. This helps you prioritize.
Makes sense. Focus on the big ones.
Exactly. Then, mitigating or eliminating risks. This is where you figure out strategies to reduce the chance or impact or even get rid of the risk altogether. The source gives a perfect R&AC example, ensuring expensive machinery against breakdown or damage.
Practical.
Very. After that, assigning responsibilities. Who does what if a risk actually happens? Clarity is key. Developing an emergency plan is also vital contingency plans for different scenarios, like a major equipment failure during a critical installation.
Right.
Then communication and training, making sure employees know the risks and the plan, especially around safety. And finally, monitoring. You have to keep watching, keep studying, because new risks can always pop up maybe from new rules or technologies.
That's a really solid framework. Now, here's where theory meets reality. A real-world example that shows how these principles can lead to huge success. Expert, can you tell us the story of Abdullah Al-Jafali? How did he get started?
Abdullah Al-Jafali's story is truly remarkable. A self-made entrepreneur from Qasim province started his venture in Mecca. He saw a fundamental need and just went for it.
His big achievement.
His groundbreaking move was setting up the first electricity company in Taif back in 1947, and it later expanded to include Mecca, too.
Wow, 1947.
Yeah, think about it. He was replacing oil lamps and those weak, scattered generators they had back then.
Yeah.
He was literally bringing modern light to these cities. It wasn't just a business. It was, well, revolutionary for the time.
That's incredible. So Al-Jafali brings electricity to Taif and Mecca, maybe 50 years, roughly, after Edison's first plant in New York. That shows amazing entrepreneurial drive, foresight, and serious risk-taking to create a whole new market. What did this first company mean for his family's future?
And you have to think about the planning involved, right? The financial side, the risk assessment. That company, Saudi Electricity Company, was actually the first Arab company funded entirely by its own citizens.
Really?
Yes. Started with a capital of £1 million, which then tripled in value in just 4 years. That shows incredible financial planning and tapping into local investment potential. It was absolutely pivotal for the Al-Jafali family's future in commerce, industry, investment. It shows how one well-planned, well-executed venture can build a legacy.
So that huge success wasn't the end game, it was just the beginning, a springboard. How did that lead them into sectors like, well, refrigeration and air conditioning that we're focused on?
Exactly. It wasn't a one-off. It created this entrepreneurial spirit, an ecosystem within the family. They went on to get international agencies, set up loads of other companies. And the source specifically highlights how they then established the Saudi Refrigerator Manufacturing Company and the Saudi Air Conditioner Manufacturing Company.
Ah, the connection.
It's a natural progression, isn't it? Once you've established the power infrastructure, you understand the market for things that use that power. Where there's electricity, people need appliances.
That story really drives it home. It shows how applying these principles, financial foresight, building the right team, managing huge risks, like pioneering a whole new industry, leads not just to business success, but, well, to changing society. It's the ultimate building the parachute midair example.
Absolutely.
And that really wraps up our deep dive today into crafting a robust business plan, especially for the R&AC world. We've looked at finance, HR, risk, and tied it all together with that fantastic Al-Jafali story.
Yeah, and the real aha moment here, I think, is seeing how interconnected all these pieces are. You need foresight in each area, understanding the money, building a great team, planning for risks. They all work together. That's what turns that scary entrepreneurial leap into, hopefully, a controlled descent and a successful landing.
So what does all this mean for you listening? Well, these ideas aren't just for launching a big R&AC company. They apply everywhere. Personal projects, developing your career, any initiative, really, that needs careful planning and managing resources. So maybe something to think about this week. How can starting small, but with a clear vision and a solid plan, lead not just to your own success, but maybe even contribute to bigger changes, just like the Al-Jafali family did, literally lighting up cities and bringing modern life to a nation?